Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Line Change, the NHL betting podcast from the Action Network. My name is Michael Leboff. I'm the hockey editor here at Action, and joining me, as always, is my friend and professional bettor. You know him on gambling Twitter as So Money Sports. And So Money, we fell into a trap.
We
counted out the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, Tampa Bay Lightning, and they made us eat our words with a 6-2 drubbing of the Colorado Avalanche in Game 3. Series now is 2-1. The Avalanche are still prohibitive -310 favorites to win the series. Lightning plus 250, but this line was -600 and plus 450 respectively before Game 3. So it obviously came down quite a bit after that performance from the Bolts. The early line for Game 4 is a pick'em, the over/under 6, but there's a lot to talk about for this one. Let's first talk about just looking ahead with what's going to happen with the Colorado Avalanche goaltending situation. Darcy Kuemper gets pulled. He did not look sharp at all. Pavel Francouz comes in. He looks pretty good in relief. I mean, you can't really judge that much, but now it just becomes a huge part of your handicap for Game 4, because I don't think we're going to hear from Jared Bednar one way or the other who's starting.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is what we talked about with Colorado, right? Like, they just need average goaltending, and like they didn't get that today. And Kemper, we've talked about him throughout the season with his ups and downs, and sometimes he gets a little bit streaky. If you're Colorado, you're really hoping that this doesn't turn into one of his downward streaks here, but I think you have to go back to him at this point. Bednar, you're right. He's not going to tip his hand, but I can't see a situation where you don't go back to him, and that becomes a very tough handicap, because we know we have evidence of him kind of putting these clunkers together in bunches. So it's really tough to just say that he'll be totally fine next game with any sort of confidence at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, the truth is he really hasn't been sharp for quite a bit. I know he pitched a shutout in Game 2, but the Lightning had like 16 shots, and very few of them were of any quality whatsoever. It was a 7-0 win for Colorado, so it's not like he had anything to do in that game. So if you just toss that one out as the outlier to the three games of the series, Game 1 and Game 3 that we're looking at, he hasn't looked good. And on the other, what complicates that even further is that on the other side of the ice, Andrei Vasilevskiy, after giving up an early goal that was then disallowed for offside, and then giving up another goal in the first period to put the Lightning down in a deficit, he then snapped into form. It's eerily similar to what we saw in that Ranger series, where he wasn't at his best for the first two games on the road, wasn't even at his best in the beginning of his first game back at home in Game 3 of that series, and then snapped into form and played really well, made some 10-bell saves along the way. So that goaltending edge, just like we saw with like the Leaf series and the Ranger series, like it could start to really pay off for Tampa Bay here. And that's why right away, like the series has gone over, and I was on the under in the last one. I once again bet Vasilevskiy to pitch a shutout just because don't have any self-control at this point, and like it's going to happen when I don't bet it. So I'm now back myself into that corner. But I made a lot of bets on this game, the Game 3 going under.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to abandon that ship for Game 4, because I think that while the Lightning might have maybe solved Kuemper and Kemper's out of form, I do believe that Vasilevskiy is going to do the heavy lifting in terms of the goaltending department to get us to our first under of the series when these two teams meet again on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. I get really hesitant on the under right now, just because like how we mentioned earlier that you need to have confidence that you're going to get something out of Kuemper here, and I just don't know at this point. Now, if you're telling me that I can bet a plus money under 6, well, I mean that's going to change my calculus now, right? So if I do get a plus money under 6, it's gonna be very tough for me to lay off that under, because like I would think that's way too big of an adjustment after the way that the market has moved on this under, both in Game 2 and in Game 3. And now we're getting a plus money under 6. So I mean, I can certainly make that case.
And looking at the game line, like I said, it's a pick 'em right now, -110 both ways. This line could ping pong all over the place because we might see Nazem Kadri for game 4. Nikita Kucherov left late in game 4 for the Lightning. He's obviously a very, very important player for them. Braden Point missed game 3, so his status, I'm sure, is doubtful at this point for any games left in the series. Like, and then also, like we talked about with the goaltending, so there's just a lot that we're gonna have to sort through to get a bet on a side.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, like from game 2 to game 3, everybody was so infatuated with the Avalanche and it was hard not to be. They just had outscored Tampa Bay 11-3 in the first 2 games of the series, 7-3 at 5-on-5, and it wasn't even that close. Like, they were just dominating the Lightning, and they really just took the series to them. So looking at the Avalanche as an underdog for the first time this entire postseason, mind you, when they closed as an underdog for game 3, it was really hard for, I'm sure, a ton of people to look away from that price on Colorado for game 3. And now it's going to be the opposite, where you're going to have to not get overzealous just because of what you saw from the two-time defending champs. And if this game once again closes in that range where Colorado, it's like either a pick 'em or maybe Colorado's a slight underdog, slight favorite, it does seem like you should probably, if you did believe in Colorado for game 3, and this is not even, this isn't in a vacuum, not counting what you might hear about with Kucherov. If you were on Colorado in game 3, it does kind of just make sense to go back to the Avalanche here for game 4.
It does, absolutely. And I think that we touched on this before the series started, that how good both of these teams are at making adjustments game to game, right? So, and when you have 2 really good teams that that are really good at making these adjustments, you are prone to these kind of blowouts sometimes, because you have one team that's making those adjustments, and they're very good at it. So I think that if you like Colorado at the plus money in game 3, like I did, then I think that you kind of have to go back to the well at that point. Now, like you said, there are some things to consider here with Kucherov and Kadri. So that does kind of throw a wrench in there. But yeah, I was surprised. I was on record as being surprised that how Tampa Bay was not able to make that adjustment between game 1 and 2, and they did between games 2 and 3. So the series is kind of starting to get into that mold of what we were talking about with the adjustments that both teams can make. So I would suspect that Colorado is able to make the adjustments, and especially if Kucherov is out. Well, now you have Kucherov out, you possibly have Point out. These are significant losses here for Tampa Bay if that's the case. And I don't think Colorado would be a dog if Kucherov is out, but if they're anything close to that, then I think that with him out, then, and you liked Colorado in game 3, there's no reason not to go back to them in game 4.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think the way that I'm going to be approaching this one, once again, with the Kucherov stuff notwithstanding, is basically betting as if I'm expecting a low scoring Colorado win and making my bets off of that. One thing I will note about Tampa Bay, I think we're back in that kind of boat, whereas if you think Tampa is going to win game 4, you maybe bet Tampa in game 3, you want to bet them again game 4. I think you should, if you're going to bet Tampa to win game 4, you should probably take a piece of the series line at plus 250. Yes, you'll get a better price. It's if they knock this thing at 2-2 and turn this series into a coin flip, I'm not saying that they should be favorites to win the series, but what we've seen out of this team is that as the series go on and on and on, I don't know if it's even that they get better. It's just they don't know how to navigate the murky waters of the business end of a best of 7 series. So if to anyone who is interested and is gung-ho about betting Tampa Bay for game 4, do yourself a favor and take a little bit of a riskier move and play them to win the Stanley Cup at plus 250.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, like another thing I would say, that like if you do like Tampa Bay for the series, the Conn Smythe market kind of opens up here, because with Vasilevsky off to a poor start in this series, in games 1 and 2, it kind of puts, and if Kucherov is out for any length of time, even if it's like a game, it does kind of bring us Steve Stamkos into the mix there. So I think that that he would be an option where you might want to look, because now they're going to be leaning on him quite a bit. And if Tampa Bay is showing that that they kind of want to get into these high event games, I don't think that they would want to, but if they are, then I think that Stamkos becomes a pretty good look there for the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Definitely. Stamkos, I don't think Palat's going to do it. He scored again tonight, but it's like you said, it does seem like if they are going to win the series and if Kucherov is compromised, it'll be Stamkos willing them over the line. But yeah, I mean, it's a series now. It's going to be interesting. And we wish you guys all the best of luck as we wrap up another episode of Line Change.